Welcome, guys. Guys, how are you? It's nice to be back, to be able to interact with you after so many days. I think probably after a month or so. Am I right? Good evening, Jash Shah, Kashif, Dinyash, Jyoti Jha, and Abdul. Abdul, am I right? Lakshmi, Alok, and all of you who have joined in. Students, I think it should have been your nice journey from chapter 10 to from chapter 1 to chapter 10. We had started from chapter 1 studying the nature, scope, and objectives of an independent audit. And then we hopped on to chapter 2, which was about audit planning. Then we moved on to chapter on audit documentation and audit evidence, how audit evidence is obtained, what are different types of audit procedures which are performed by the auditor. We had also studied about accompanying essays which are there in every chapter. We also studied about the audit risk, its components, about the risk assessment procedures, about the internal control system of an organization, how it is beneficial to the auditor in chapter 4. We also studied about special responsibilities of auditor in relation to fraud, and then we covered sampling and what are the risks involved in case of a company which is operating in an automated environment. We also studied about analytical procedures and how the auditor conducts audit of specific items in financial statements. And lastly, you had also studied about the relevant legal provisions of Companies Act 2013 relating to audit and accounts. So guys, you remember chapter 1? So what was the basic objective of an independent audit? Again, the same question, guys, from where we had started. Chapter 1. What was the basic objective of an independent audit? What you had studied in chapter 1. What is the basic objective of an independent audit of financial statements? Clearly. Yes, guys. Come on very fast. Yes, Jyoti Jha. Jyoti is writing to give an opinion. Yes, that's correct. So the ultimate objective of an independent audit of financial statements is to obtain reasonable assurance that financial statements as a whole are free from material misstatements and to express the same through opinion. And how opinion is expressed? Now the opinion of auditor is expressed through audit report, by means of audit report. So what is the final outcome of whole this process of audit? It is the audit report. So now we come to this very important chapter of audit report. So how the opinion is expressed by the auditor? In what circumstances he expresses unmodified opinion? And if he finds some wrongdoing, then in what circumstances he expresses a modified opinion. What are the different types of modified opinion? What is the difference between qualified opinion, adverse opinion, and disclaimer of opinion? And what are the contents of audit report? How audit report is to be provided? What it should be? What it should include? What are the relevant standards on auditing pertaining to it? Okay, so we shall be studying all these aspects in our this session on audit report in precisely in three lectures. We shall be studying all these aspects. So guys, you understand that the final outcome of an audit process is expression of an opinion by the auditor through the means of a written audit report. Okay, so all what you have read from chapter 1 to chapter 10, it culminates into audit report. Okay, is that clear? Is that clear, guys? Because all audit procedures which the auditor performs and he obtains audit evidence by performing these procedures, then he evaluates that evidence, that how it is affecting his opinion, whether financial statements contain material misstatements, okay, and how his opinion is being affected by the nature of evidence which he has obtained through carrying out the process of audit. Okay, so is that clear to you guys? So students, we shall be studying in this chapter these essays broadly. We shall be going through essay 700, 701, 705, 706, 710. So 700 relates to forming an opinion, that how auditor forms an opinion, what are the considerations and what are the contents of an audit report. So all these things we will be studying by learning various requirements of this essay. Okay, then we shall also be touching essay 701, which relates to communicating key audit matters. Now we shall be studying it in detail later on. For the time being, you can understand key audit matters means some significant matters identified by the auditor during the course of audit. How he communicates these matters through the means of audit report, we shall be touching upon this. We shall be also going through essay 705, which relates to modification to opinion. Say if the auditor finds that there are material misstatements in financial statements, then how he can modify his opinion. What are the different types of modified opinion? Okay, so this we shall be studying through essay 705. And we shall also be touching upon essay 706 and 710. 706 relates to emphasis of matter paragraph. When auditor wants to emphasize something and so as to make users of the financial statements better understand those things. Okay, so essay 706 relates to emphasis of matter paragraph and other matter paragraph. We shall be learning about all these things detail in this chapter. So this is broad outlook. And SA 710 relates to comparative information. When comparative figures are presented, so SA 710 touches upon this requirement. Okay. So students, are you ready? We shall be starting with SA 700. So we shall be starting with SA 700. Now I am going to your module. So what does SA 700 state, guys? SA 700 states that the name of SA is forming an opinion and reporting on financial statements. So the name itself makes the things very clear that it relates to forming an opinion and reporting on financial statements. That auditor has carried out the audit. Now he has to form the opinion and to report on financial statements. So what was the final outcome of the audit process? It is the audit report. Okay. So how the auditor expresses his opinion? He expresses his opinions by means of a written audit report. Okay. So SA 700 deals with all these things. So SA 700 deals with auditor's responsibility to form an opinion on the financial statements. It also deals with the form and content of audit report issued as a result of an audit of financial statements. Form and content, both things. What should be the form and content mean? What it should include? What it should include, like to whom it is to be addressed, whether how opinion is to be presented, whether basis of opinion is to be given or not. Okay, whether auditor's responsibility is to be given, if yes, in what manner, whether management responsibility is to be given, if yes, then in what manner. So all these things, what are the contents? Contents, you understand what it should include. Okay. So why this essay? So now the next question arises: why SA 700? Why it is necessary that a standard on auditing has been issued to cover this matter? One could say that the auditor has carried out the audit in accordance with the standards on auditing. He has performed all the audit procedures which were required as per standards on in accordance with standards on auditing. Then what is the need of an essay on the expression of opinion? So guys, it is very important, because finally what is the document which proves that audit has been conducted, and which is the final outcome of the audit process. So how does it help? How does this SA 700 help? It ensures that there is a uniformity and comparability in the audit reports issued by different auditors, so that these are recognized. So that these are recognized. There is some sort of standardization here, so that anybody who studies the report, he knows that he is going to rely upon the rely upon the upon a audit report, which is some sort of which is in some sort of standardized format. So, but students, you should understand that it doesn't mean that the auditor is not given any option or a leeway to express his opinion of stating some facts. Yes, he can state some facts, but there is a way of doing this. So so by following this essay, by following the requirements of this essay, the auditors uh, issue the reports which are comparable, and it provides some sort of uniformity in the matter of issuing report in the whole of auditing profession. Okay. So guys, is that clear to you? So what I am saying to you, you understand the basic spirit of what I am trying to tell you. Now we shall go through your module. So the requirements of this essay are aimed at addressing an appropriate balance between the need for consistency and comparability in auditor reporting globally. So consistent means that different reports issued, they follow a set pattern, they are consistent and comparable. Okay. And the need to increase the value of auditor reporting by making the information provided in auditor's report more relevant to users. So when you follow a standardized way of reporting, obviously users can easily compare and it increases their confidence. Okay. So this essay promotes consistency in the auditor's report, but recognizes the need for flexibility. So that is what I was telling you, that this essay also recognizes the need for flexibility to accommodate particular circumstances of individual jurisdictions. Okay. So like in like there may be different circumstances, so it gives a leeway to the auditor. It is not it doesn't mean that this essay doesn't mean that that an auditor cannot express what he has found or what evidence he has obtained. Within those parameters he can express. Okay. So consistency in auditor's report promotes credibility in the global marketplace by making more readily identifiable those audits that have been conducted in accordance with globally recognized standards. So guys, when you were reading chapter 1, you had understood that essays are issued by AASP under the authority of Council of ICAI, and ICAI is also member of International Federation of Accountants. Okay, so the purpose of standards is also to promote consistency and uniformity worldwide, so that audit reports issued for various companies, for various organizations, for various entities, they give some sort of standardized look. Okay, and users are in a position to better understand them. Is that clear to you guys? So what are the objectives of auditor as per SA 700? Yes. Now, these are the objectives of auditor as per SA 700 to form an opinion on the financial statements based on an evaluation of the conclusions drawn from the audit evidence obtained. Now, guys, the auditor has performed the audit procedures. He has obtained the audit evidence. And from the audit evidence obtained, he draws conclusion. He draws the conclusions that this is the evidence I have obtained, and I draw this conclusion from the obtained evidence, whether it is reliable or not. Okay. And it is on the basis of those conclusions that he forms an opinion. So the objective of an auditor as per SA 700 is to form an opinion on the financial statements based on evaluation of the conclusions drawn from the audit evidence obtained during the course of audit. Okay. Number one, he has to form an opinion. And number two, once he has formed an opinion, then what he has to do? He has to express clearly that opinion through a written report. Say, because unless he expresses the opinion through the means of a written report, then that opinion remains in his head. It remains in his mind. It is only when he expresses the opinion through the means of a written report that he will be able to communicate that opinion to the various stakeholders. Okay. So clear, guys? Now, to form an opinion, what the auditor has to do? Again, the same thing. So that is why, guys, I am saying that chapter 1 is backbone of this subject. If you understand chapter 1 clearly, guys, if you learn chapter 1 clearly by heart, if you learn, then many things would be clear to you. And now once you have reached chapter 11, I think when you try to read again chapter 1, then your understanding would be much better. So guys, try this today. Now try again to read chapter 1. After reading these, after you have read all these chapters from 1 to 10, you will feel that after going through chapter 1 to 10 and after attending classes of chapter 1 to 10, now your understanding of chapter 1 is more crystal clear. You will be able to understand the concepts in a much better way. Okay, with greater clarity. So the auditor has to obtain a reasonable assurance that financial statements are free from material misstatements as a whole, and these have been prepared in all material respects in accordance with the applicable financial reporting framework. And when he obtains reasonable assurance, which is a high level of assurance, then he draws conclusions. Okay, so how he draws conclusions? So his drawing of conclusions would depend upon 3 factors. Number 1, whether sufficient appropriate audit evidence has been obtained. Say if he has not been able to obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence, then obviously he cannot express an opinion. He would not be in a position to express an opinion. Whether uncorrected statements are material individually or in aggregate. say during the course of audit, the auditor has found uncorrected material misstatements which remain uncorrected till the performance of all his procedures. After performing all his procedures, these misstatements remain uncorrected. He brings it to the knowledge of management, but these remain uncorrected. And the evaluation. Now he would have to assess that these misstatements are uncorrected. So what is the effect of these misstatements on his opinion? He has to assess. It is only then he would be able to express his opinion. It is as simple as that. So clear, guys? Now, Prabhat Sharma, you are asking again that is it good to attend the class if I had not gone through chapter 1 to 5? Sorry, Prabhat, it would be of no use. It would be of no use if you did not attend classes of chapter 1 to 5. You will not be able to understand much. Okay. So evaluations by the auditor. So how does the auditor make an evaluation? How does auditor make an evaluation? Yes, Prabhat, now you are saying 5 to 10. Yes, if you have read chapter 1 to 5, then you can understand this chapter. Then you can understand. So the auditor shall evaluate whether financial statements are prepared in accordance with the applicable FRF, in accordance with the applicable financial reporting framework. Now, how he will evaluate? Evaluate, by now you have understood this term, guys. Evaluate. Evaluate means to assess that I have obtained some evidence. Then how I would have to assess. I would have to see whether it is proper or not. How it is affecting my opinion. Okay. So the evaluation relates to qualitative aspects of entities' accounting policies. Now, as you know that management makes a number of judgments regarding the amounts and disclosures in financial statements. And so the auditor might become aware of some bias in management's judgment. So the auditor may find, say, that the accounting policy, say, pertaining to valuation of inventories is not proper. Okay. So the auditor may conclude that lack of neutrality together with uncorrected misstatement causes the financial statements to be materially misstated. So if the auditor thinks that there is a management bias, that management is biased towards selecting particular accounting policies and which are causing misstatements in the financial statements, then this aspect has to be taken into consideration by the auditor while evaluating the conclusions drawn on the basis of audit evidence which he has obtained. Okay. So it might so happen that during the course of audit, the auditor has pointed out some misstatements and the management makes only a selective correction of misstatements. कुछ misstatements तो उन्होंने ठीक कर दी से, लेकिन कुछ स्टेटमेंट से जिनका की से प्रॉफिट्स रिड्यूस करने पे इफेक्ट आ रहा है, जिससे कि प्रॉफिट्स रिड्यूस होते हैं, वो मिस स्टेटमेंट्स ठीक नहीं की, तो what does this show? This shows that management is not neutral, that management is showing bias. That auditor has pointed out, say 10 misstatements, and he asked the management to correct these before he gives his audit report. Okay, but management is selective even in correcting those misstatements. से कुछ तो उन्होंने ठीक कर दी 10 में से 6, लेकिन 4 पे प्रॉफिट पे बहुत ज्यादा इफेक्ट पड़ रहा है, से अर्निंग्स पे, एंटिटी की अर्निंग्स पे बहुत ज्यादा इफेक्ट पड़ रहा है. सो दे चूज नॉट टू करेक्ट दोज मिसस्टेटमेंट्स. सो व्हाट डज दिस शो? दिस शो that management is having a bias, that management is biased. Okay, that management is not neutral. Okay, so similarly, possible management bias in making of accounting estimates. So there is a possibility, there is a good chance that management while making accounting estimates which are there to be made while preparing financial statements is biased, has a bias. Okay, so this has also to be taken into consideration by the auditor. So specific evaluations by the auditor. Now these are the specific evaluations which are to be done by the auditor. So in particular, the auditor shall evaluate whether financial statements adequately disclose the significant accounting policies and selected and applied. Now this thing is very important. The management has chosen accounting policy. Now policies in respect to various aspects. So whether the financial statements which are given to the auditor for audit, whether these disclose significant accounting policies, okay, and whether significant accounting policies disclosed are consistent with the applicable financial reporting framework and are appropriate, and whether the accounting estimates are reasonable. These are not biased, because accounting estimates have to be made by the management. It is management's responsibility to make reasonable accounting estimates. So whether these accounting estimates are reasonable or unreasonable, this has to be assessed by the auditor. This has to be evaluated by the auditor. Okay. The information presented in the financial statements is relevant, reliable, comparable, and understandable. That whatever is there in the financial statements, this is relevant and this is reliable. Reliable means that there is evidence behind those figures to support those figures, and relevant means that figures or the amounts or disclosures contained in financial statements, these are relevant to the period of financial statements for which these are prepared, and comparable. These are comparable and understandable. That anybody, any user of the financial statements, he can easily understand what the financial statements purport to convey. Okay, what do they want to say? Okay, what do they want to convey? So the financial statements provide adequate disclosures. So again, this is very important. The disclosures are very important in financial statements. Whether financial statements provide adequate disclosures to the intended users, to the various stakeholders, okay, and the terminology used in the financial statements, including title of each financial statement. is appropriate. Now, guys, you understand that when we refer to financial statements, we refer to these as complete set of financial statements. Complete set of financial statements. Now, what does the complete set of financial statement means? It means balance sheet, statement of profit and loss, say cash flow, and notes to accounts, and summary of significant accounting policies. Okay, this is complete set of financial statements. And what is a single financial statement? Single financial statement means, say, when I simply refer to statement of profit and loss, or when I singly refer to cash flow statements. These are single financial statements. So the terminology is used in the financial statements, including the title of each financial statement, is appropriate. That title is appropriate. That heading of the financial statement is appropriate. It has also to be evaluated, to be seen by the auditor. Okay. So now we shall also understand two more terms, guys, which you have also read in accounting, I think. General purpose financial statements and general purpose framework. Now, students, what are general purpose financial statements? General purpose financial statements which are prepared in accordance with the general purpose framework. Now, what is a general purpose framework? General purpose framework means a financial reporting framework designed to meet the common financial information needs of a wide range of users. Say company की balance sheet है, so it is not only relevant for shareholders of the company. It is also relevant for, say, lenders, for bankers, for government authorities. Okay, so these are not relevant to just one group of the users. So it is relevant to the common financial information needs of a wide range of users. Okay, it is relevant for members. It is relevant for tax authorities. It is relevant for regulators. It is relevant for lenders. It is relevant for investors. It may be relevant for creditors. Okay, so these sort of things. So when financial statements are prepared in accordance with general purpose framework, these are called as general purpose financial statements. Now, what is general purpose framework? General purpose framework is the financial reporting framework designed to meet the common financial information needs of a wide range of users. कई टाइप के यूजर हो सकते हैं, उनकी नीड्स को ध्यान में रख के जो फाइनेंशियल रिपोर्टिंग फ्रेमवर्क बनाया गया है या बनाया जाता है, उसको जनरल पर्पस फ्रेमवर्क कहते हैं. ओके, इट इज डिफरेंट फ्रॉम स्पेशल पर्पस फ्रेमवर्क. ओके, दैट only this much is in your syllabus, so you have to understand meaning of these two terms: general purpose financial statements and general purpose framework. Now, it also states that general purpose framework may be a fair representation framework or a compliance framework. तो इसके बीच में दो टर्म्स और आ गई. General purpose framework can be either a fair representation framework और एक कॉम्प्लायंस फ्रेमवर्क। ओके, तो अब इन दोनों के बीच में क्या डिफरेंस है? सो फेयर रिप्रेजेंटेशन फ्रेमवर्क उस फाइनेंशियल रिपोर्टिंग फ्रेमवर्क को कहते हैं जो इस बात को एक्नॉलेज करे एक्सप्लिसिटली या इम्प्लिसिटली, या आइदर बाय डायरेक्टली स्टेटिंग दैट, और जो रिपोर्टिंग फ्रेमवर्क का मोड है वो ही ऐसा है कि उसमें ये इंप्लाइड है कि फेयर रिप्रेजेंटेशन के लिए जो डिस्क्लोजर्स रिक्वायर्ड है मैनेजमेंट उनसे ज्यादा भी डिस्क्लोज कर सकती है। से when we audit financial statements prepared in accordance with Schedule 3 of the Companies Act, so not only the company meets all the requirements of Schedule 3, okay, but it can also disclose the things which are necessary to achieve fair representation, which are necessary to reflect true and fair view of the financial statements. Okay, or one thing is that it acknowledges explicitly or implicitly that to achieve fair representation of financial statements, it may be necessary for the management to provide disclosures beyond those specifically required by the framework, or acknowledges explicitly that it may be necessary for the management to depart from a requirement of framework to achieve presentation of the financial statements. Such departures की जो फ्रेमवर्क, जो फाइनेंशियल रिपोर्टिंग फ्रेमवर्क की रिक्वायरमेंट है, अगर उससे डिपार्ट भी होना पड़े ट्रू एंड फेयर व्यू देने के लिए, तो वो डिपार्ट भी हो सकते हैं, बट दिस हैपन्स ओनली रेयरली। ओके, so the term compliance framework is used to refer a financial reporting framework when these two conditions are not applicable. So in compliance reporting framework, only the organization, the entity, the company only complies with that financial reporting framework. It does not go beyond that. But in fair representation framework, the management of that company, the management of that organization can go beyond the applicable financial reporting framework. It can go beyond the disclosures required in the financial reporting framework to reflect the true and fair state of affairs of the entity. Okay. Now, Dinyash English, you are asking, general purpose of balance sheet is that to show the financial position. Then it is general purpose financial statement. So I think Dinyash, you are understanding the concept wrong way. जब कोई फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट बनती है, तो पहली बात तो गाइस स्टूडेंट्स आपको ये अंडरस्टैंड करनी है कि जब कोई फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट बनती है, अगर वो एक जनरल पर्पस फ्रेमवर्क के हिसाब से बनी है तो उसको जनरल पर्पस फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट कहते हैं। अगर कोई स्पेशल फाइनेंशियल रिपोर्टिंग फ्रेमवर्क के हिसाब से बनी है, उसको स्पेशल पर्पस फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट कहते हैं। स्पेशल पर्पस फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट्स आपके कोर्स में नहीं है। वी आर डीलिंग विद ओनली जनरल पर्पस फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट्स। नाउ जनरल पर्पस फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट्स वो फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट्स हैं जो जनरल पर्पस फाइनेंशियल रिपोर्टिंग फ्रेमवर्क के हिसाब से बनाई जाती हैं, जनरल पर्पस फ्रेमवर्क के हिसाब से बनाई जाती हैं। और जनरल पर्पस फ्रेमवर्क का क्या मतलब है? उसका मतलब है कि एक ऐसा फाइनेंशियल रिपोर्टिंग फ्रेमवर्क which meets the common financial information needs of wide range of users. It is not restricted to one kind of users. Like it does not convey only information relevant to the shareholders of the company. Like shareholders might be interested in profits of the company and dividend what they are getting, but the lenders might be interested in various factors. Okay. Similarly, creditors might be interested in it in different factors. So statement, a general purpose financial reporting framework intends to cover common financial information needs of wide range of users, not restricted to one type of users. Like it is not restricted to the use of shareholders alone. It can be used for the by shareholders, by tax authorities, by lenders. Okay. And general purpose framework can be of two types. Number one is fair representation framework and number two is compliance framework. So what is the difference between two? Compliance framework को जैसे नाम से ही पता चलता है कि जो फाइनेंशियल रिपोर्टिंग फ्रेमवर्क है उसको कंप्लाई विद करेगा. आप ऐसे इस बात को समझिए. और फेयर रिपोर्टिंग फ्रेमवर्क जो है उसमें जो एप्लीकेबल फाइनेंशियल रिपोर्टिंग फ्रेमवर्क है, द मैनेजमेंट कैन गो बियॉन्ड दैट ऑल्सो. इट कैन प्रोवाइड एडिशनल डिस्क्लोजर so as to depict the true picture. Okay, so you can understand it this way. Is that clear? Is that clear? No, general purpose framework and the financial fair representation framework are not same. Yatiraj More, these are not same. Although fair representation framework is a sort of general purpose framework, but these two terms are not interchangeable. General purpose framework can be fair representation framework or compliance frameworks. Is that clear? Yes, Dinyash, Alok, you are saying it is clear now. So normally, guys, you have not to go much deeper into it. You have to understand that say normally we are talking about fair representation frameworks. Normally we are talking about fair representation frameworks. So unmodified opinion. So guys, you had learned till now the terms might have come during your study from chapter 1 to chapter 10, that opinion can be modified, that an auditor can modify his opinion, that an auditor would express an unmodified opinion. Now all these things we are going to study in this chapter, in chapter 10. So what is unmodified opinion? Unmodified opinion, आप students broadly ये समझें. Unmodified opinion means when the auditor concludes that financial statements have been prepared in all material respects in accordance with the financial reporting frameworks. कि जो जिस framework के हिसाब से financial statements prepare होनी थी वो prepare हुई है. Say in case of a company, these have been prepared in accordance with the schedule 3. These reflect true and fair view of the state of affairs. All disclosures have been made. All the information has been prepared in accordance with the requirements of schedule 3. It has been presented in accordance with the schedule 3. Okay, and the result of the operations, whether the whether the company shows a profit or loss, it is truly reflected. It is truly and fairly reflected. What was required to be reflected. All the estimates made are reasonable. All the necessary disclosures have been made. All the significant accounting policies have been disclosed. So when the auditor concludes that financial statements are prepared in accordance in all material respects, in accordance with applicable financial reporting framework, then we say in the auditor language, then we say in the language of auditing that auditor expresses an unmodified opinion, an opinion which is not modified, which is not modified. Now, Pranav, you are asking again whether it is a choice of the company to opt for fair representation or compliance framework. So do not try to go deep into it. You just understand that for the purpose of your syllabus, what we are referring to is fair representation framework. What we are generally talking about is fair representation framework. Okay. So the opinion expressed by the auditor when the auditor concludes that financial statements are prepared in all material respects in accordance with applicable financial reporting framework. Then what does he do? If he finds that everything is okay, that financial statements have been prepared with in accordance with the applicable financial reporting framework, then he gives an unmodified opinion. Then he states that financial statements reflected true and fair view of the state of affairs of the company and of the profit or loss for the period. Okay, so he gives an unmodified opinion. He has no reservation. Okay, he does not. He has no conditions to write. So this unmodified opinion is unconditional. It is unconditional. It is not subject to this, subject to that. He gives a sort of clean chit. Okay. So you can understand he gives a sort of clean chit to the company that he has done the audit, he has carried out the audit according to the in accordance with standards on auditing. And after performing the audit procedures, after obtaining the audit evidence and drawing the conclusions and evaluating those conclusions, he has come to the understanding that the financial statements of that entity are prepared in all material respects in accordance with applicable financial reporting framework. Then in such case, the auditor expresses an unmodified opinion. We say in the language of auditing, it is an unmodified opinion. There are no ifs or buts in it. The auditor expresses an unmodified opinion. Okay, is that clear? What is an unmodified opinion? Yes, guys. So unmodified opinion, again, the auditor shall express an unmodified opinion when the auditor concludes that financial statements are prepared in all material respects in accordance with the applicable financial reporting framework. And when does the auditor give a modified opinion? Modify means what does modify means? Modify means that something has been added. Modify, when you modify something, it means that you are changing its shape. What it was original, so you are changing it. You are trying to change it. So modified opinion, when auditor expresses a modified opinion, if the auditor concludes that based on the audit evidence obtained, the financial statements as a whole are not free from material misstatement. So first thing is that when he concludes that there are material misstatements in the financial statements, okay, but it should be backed by audit evidence. It is not only that he believes so, but my belief should be backed by what? My belief should be backed by audit evidence. So the important thing is audit evidence. So if the auditor concludes based upon the audit evidence obtained, okay, so audit evidence is key thing. Unless he has audit evidence in hand, he cannot conclude, he cannot arrive at those conclusions that financial statements contain material misstatements. However, if he has audit evidence, if he has obtained audit evidence and he concludes that financial statements are not free from material misstatements as a whole, then he shall express a modified opinion. Or say if the auditor is unable to obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence. से एक बात तो ये हो गई कि उसको ऑडिट एविडेंस मिल गया, दूसरी बात ये कि उसको ऑडिट एविडेंस ही नहीं मिला. He is unable to obtain sufficient or appropriate audit evidence to conclude that financial statements are free from material misstatements as a whole. से मैनेजमेंट कॉपरेट नहीं किया, एम्प्लॉइज ने इंफॉर्मेशन दी नहीं, ओके, required records दिखाई नहीं, then how he would obtain audit evidence? Then in such a case he would not be able to obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence, okay, because he has to conclude whether financial statements as a whole are free from material misstatements or not. So this he can conclude through two things. One, first thing is that he obtains sufficient appropriate audit evidence to conclude that financial statements contain material misstatements. Then he has to give modified opinion. Second thing is he is unable to obtain sufficient appropriate evidence to conclude that financial statements as a whole are free from material misstatements. Then in this case also he has to give an modified opinion. So the auditor shall modify opinion in auditor's report. How he will modify it? Now that is as per requirements of SA 705. As I had told you at the outset, at the beginning of this chapter, I had told you. Now Dinesh, you are asking, is modified opinion lower than reasonable assurance? Dinesh, you are mixing up two things. Reasonable assurance means that the auditor has obtained high level of comfort by obtaining sufficient appropriate audit evidence. Okay. And modified opinion, by its very nature, it means that auditor has not been able to obtain reasonable assurance that financial statements are free from material misstatements as a whole. But you cannot compare the two things because these belong to two different categories. Okay. Modification of opinion relates to opinion. whereas assurance relates to auditor's comfort. Clear, Dinyash? So is that clear, guys? So that we can move to next topic regarding contents of auditor's report. Contents of auditor's report. As per SA 700. Yes, Dinesh, tell me. Yes, Dinesh, Alok, you are saying yes, clear till now. Now, auditor's report. Now, SA 700 states that the most important thing, the auditor's report shall be in writing. The auditor's report, any report, it is plain common sense, it is plain logic, students, that any report has to be in writing. Okay, so the auditor expresses his opinion by means of an audit report, by means of an auditor's report, which has to be in writing. It has to be written. Okay. So SA 700 requires the use of specific headings which are intended to assist the auditor in making auditor's report more recognizable and which shows that audit is conducted in accordance with standards on auditing. So these headings are not made by somebody. These are in fact required as per SA 700. These are compulsorily required by SA 700. Like the report should start with the title. What should be the title? Like independent auditor's report. So there should be a heading to the audit report, that is independent auditor's report. Now, what is the logic behind it? It clearly shows that audit has been conducted by an auditor, by a person who is independent of the company, who is independent of the organization. Okay. Yes, Prabhat, it can be electronic. Writing includes electronic, but it cannot be oral. It cannot be oral. Yes, Abdul, what you are asking, we shall be discussing when we come to how modifications to the opinion are made as per SA 705, probably today or in second lecture. Yes, Jatiraj, yes. Jatiraj More, we have to remember the headings. We have to remember the headings. Not only we have to remember the headings, but we have to remember what does each heading include. Okay. Not only all these headings are to be remembered by you, but you have to remember what do these headings convey. What do these headings convey? What is stated under these headings? So we shall be learning about all these things. So the title, first thing is title. The auditor's report shall have a title that clearly indicates that it is the report of an independent auditor. Okay. For example, independent auditor's report distinguishes the independent auditor's report from report issued by others. So whenever audit report starts, there is a title as I have shown to you. In bold headings, it is written independent auditor's report, so that it is clearly visible to the users. It is clearly visible to the users of audited financial statements that the accounts have been audited by a person who is independent of the company, who is independent of the organization. Okay. Yes, Dinyash, we can discuss the contents of audit report practically also. I'll try to show you a practical audit report in our next session, so that so today you can have a basic understanding, and in next session I'll show you the actual audit report of a company, and you will be glad to learn that whatever you are reading right now today, you will find all those things in the same headings, in the same format. You will find all those things. Okay. So is that clear to you, Dinyash? So addressee. Second thing is addressee. Addressee means to whom the report is addressed. To whom the report is addressed. जब ऑडिटर ऑडिट रिपोर्ट देता है तो वो किसी को तो देगा, किसको देगा? Obviously, he would give the audit report for whom it is prepared, who have appointed him, who is his appointing authority. Like in case of a company, auditor is appointed by whom? Yes, guys, come on, tell me. Let us test your IQ. In case of a company, auditor is appointed by whom? At AGM. AGM में auditor को कौन appoint करता है? Yes, tell me. And Abdul, you are saying unmodified opinion can be called as qualified or unqualified? No, unmodified cannot be called as qualified. Cannot be called as qualified opinion. Qualified is modified opinion. But unmodified and unqualified is more or less the same thing. But the all-encompassing word is unmodified. Okay. So we'll be coming to this aspect, Abdul. Please do not jump. Yes, some of you are writing board of directors, Parnav. Some of you are writing members, shareholders. Yes. How you are writing board of directors? Parnav, I have asked that at AGM you have just done your chapter 10. भाई अगर आपने चैप्टर 10 पूरा पढ़ लिया, अगर आपको यही नहीं पता कि एजीएम में ऑडिटर को कौन अपॉइंट करता है, then what we have understood, guys. So the auditor is appointed by the members, by the shareholders. Okay, I am not talking about first auditor, which is appointed by board of directors. I am talking about AGM. Okay, so the auditor is appointed by members. So the report is also submitted to the members of the company. Say in case of a company, the report is addressed to the members of the company, because members are the owners of the company. कंपनी का मालिक कौन? कंपनी का मालिक shareholders है. Shareholders have appointed the auditor in the AGM. Okay, so the audit report is obviously addressed to the shareholders, to the members of the company. Similarly, say in case of a firm, the partners have appointed the auditor. So Audit report would be addressed to the partners of the firm. Clear? Yes. Few queries have come. Molly Agarwal, you are asking modified opinion also is judgmental. He may not think that audit evidence is appropriate and sufficient, and he may give modified if you think audit evidence is appropriate. And Patina Bidlu, you are saying subsequent auditor will be appointed by members. Yes. Yes, Patima, you are right. And Molly, everything like when you say that modified opinion is judgmental, so obviously the auditor has performed the audit procedures, he has obtained the audit evidence, he has drawn the conclusions, now he has to evaluate. Obviously evaluation involves judgment. Now the auditor has to carry out the audit in accordance with his professional judgment. In accordance, not only he has to comply with standards on auditing, but at every stage he has to keep in mind professional judgment, because in practical situations there might be situations which are not copy and paste from standards on auditing. So whatever the experience of auditor is, whatever knowledge he has gained, he cumulatively applies these things when he carries out the audit. Okay. It is not that it is totally judgmental. He has to take the steps. He has to perform those procedures which are there in essays, which are there in standards on auditing. Okay. So clear. Then third is auditor's opinion. So the auditors, first was the title. Second was addressee, to whom the report is addressed. Third is opinion. Now where the auditor gives opinion. Now how does the auditor give his opinion? He does these things. Like he identifies the entity whose financial statements have been audited. Say he writes that we have audited financial statements which comprise so and so, say balance sheet, statement of profit and loss, cash flow statement of say XYZ Limited or say ABC Private Limited. So he identifies the entity whose financial statements have been audited. It is very important. कि आप किसकी फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट्स आपने ऑडिट किए हैं, दिस यू हैव टू राइट. ओके. सो अगेन इट इज very simple. State that financial statements have been audited. You have to state that in fact you have audited the financial statements. You have to expressly state. You have to expressly state that you have audited the financial statements. Identify the title of each statement. So I have told you title of each statement. So what was the complete set of statements? Complete set of statements we refer to as complete set of financial statements include balance sheet, statement of profit and loss, cash flow, now he cannot write simply that he has audited financial statements of the company. He has to identify each financial statement. Like I told you the line, we have audited financial statements of the company which comprise of what? He would identify balance sheet, statement of profit and loss, cash flow, notes, significant accounting policies, and specify the date or period covered by financial statements. Like in case of balance sheet, he would state as at 31st March, say year 2022. Okay. And statement of profit and loss for the period ending on 31st March 2022 or whatever year is there. So he will write it in this way. So I'll show you how he will write. He will write, you read this para. We have audited, so the auditor is giving his opinion. So this is auditor giving his opinion. Say, you can assume that this is CA, myself, CA Ashish Bahl is giving opinion. Assume that. Okay? It is say on my letterhead and I am giving opinion. So we have audited the financial statements of this company. So I am identifying the company, the entity whose financial statements have been audited by me, which comprise, and I am also here identifying each financial statement which comprises the financial statements, which comprise what? Number one, balance sheet as on this date, statement of profit and loss account, this is number two, and the notes to financial statements including a summary of significant accounting policies. Okay, this is number three. Okay, and if cash flow statement is there, then we have to write cash flow statement also. So these are the things which we had studied in this chart, that identify the entity whose financial statements have been audited, state that financial statements have been audited. Now it states that we have audited. Okay. And what was the third point? Identify the title of each statement. Title of each statement ho gaya. Balance sheet, statement of profit and loss, notes on accounts. Yes, statements of change in equity can be there if it is applicable. Refer to the notes. Specify the date. Now it is stating the date कि क्या period है. Balance sheet as at 31st March 2021. Okay. And how the opinion is given. Now when the auditor gives unmodified opinion. Now here we are talking about unmodified opinion. You can understand it's clean. The auditor gives a clean audit report. He does not express any reservation. The opinion is unconditional. He has not found any wrongdoing. On the basis of audit evidence obtained, he has obtained a comfort level, he has obtained a reasonable assurance that financial statements as a whole are free from material misstatements. These have been prepared in accordance with the applicable requirements of applicable financial reporting framework in all material respects. So in that case, he gives an unmodified opinion. So when the auditor expresses an unmodified opinion, okay, he shall express it in two ways. Either he can use this language or he can use this language. These both are regarded as equivalent. दोनों का मतलब सेम है. Say either he can give, in our opinion, the accompanying financial statements present fairly in all material respects. Say state of affairs of the company in accordance with applicable financial reporting framework. ठीक है? Or he can say, in our opinion, the accompanying financial statements give a true and fair view of the state of affairs of the company in accordance with the applicable financial reporting framework. सो दोनों का यू कैन यूज एनी ऑफ दीज लैंग्वेज, दोनों का मतलब वही है कि ओपिनियन अनमॉडिफाइड है। अगर मैं कहता हूं कि फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट्स एप्लीकेबल फाइनेंशियल रिपोर्टिंग फ्रेमवर्क के हिसाब से प्रिपेयर की गई हैं इन ऑल मटेरियल रिस्पेक्ट्स, तो उसका भी मीनिंग यही है कि मैं अनमॉडिफाइड ओपिनियन एक्सप्रेस कर रहा हूं। अगर मैं कहता हूं कि फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट्स ट्रू एंड फेयर व्यू कर रही है, तो उसका भी ट्रू एंड फेयर व्यू रिप्रेजेंट कर रही है, तो उसका भी मतलब यही है कि मैं अनमॉडिफाइड ओपिनियन एक्सप्रेस कर रहा हूं। ठीक है। So when guys, when the auditor expresses an unmodified opinion, he does not use the word subject to, as I have told you with the foregoing explanation, because these words suggest some conditionality. So when the auditor gives an unmodified opinion, he straight away gives an unmodified opinion. सब कुछ, everything is okay. Okay. So what is the language? Now this is example of unmodified opinion. Now here in first para, he has identified the financial statements, period, name of the entity, all these things. Guys, you have to remember these words. कि नाम होना चाहिए, उसमें फाइनेंशियल, ईच फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट का आइडेंटिफिकेशन होना चाहिए, पीरियड होना चाहिए, बिकॉज समटाइम्स इन एमसीक्यू क्लोज चॉइसेस आर गिवन एंड यू माइट गेट कंफ्यूज्ड. ओके. So in our opinion and to the best of information and according to explanation given to us, the aforesaid financial statement give the information required by the Act. Say the audit is being conducted in accordance with Companies Act 2013. Assume. Okay. Then in the manner so required and give it true and fair view in conformity with the accounting principles generally accepted in India of what? Of the state of affairs of the company as on 31st March and the profit or loss. One thing would come. So this is a sample. Profit or loss. या तो कंपनी का प्रॉफिट होगा या लॉस होगा. ओके. So this is an example of unmodified opinion. Is that clear to you guys? Unmodified opinion. Now the auditor has not only he stops at expressing unmodified opinion. Next step, he has also to state basis for opinion. Now that is also important. He has also to state the basis for opinion. The auditor's report should include a section following the opinion section. पहले opinion आएगा, फिर basis for opinion आएगा. First is the heading, second address किसको किया, उसके बाद opinion आया, फिर basis for opinion आएगा कि जो ऊपर opinion मैं दे रहा हूं, जो ऑडिटर ऊपर ओपिनियन दे रहा है उसका बेसिस क्या है. ठीक है. सो द ऑडिटर्स रिपोर्ट शैल इंक्लूड ए सेक्शन. सो हियर देयर इज आल्सो ए सीक्वेंस. ये नहीं है कि पहले मैंने बेसिस फॉर ओपिनियन लिख दिया, बाद में ओपिनियन लिख दिया. नो, पहले ओपिनियन आएगा, फिर बेसिस फॉर ओपिनियन आएगा, बिकॉज इट इज प्रोवाइडेड इन दिस वे इन एज पर SA 700. It is provided in this way and it ensures again what? Standardization, uniformity, comparability. What we had learned at the beginning. Okay. So states that the audit was conducted in accordance with standard on auditing. So when I am giving an unmodified opinion, I am saying that audit that the affairs of the company, that I am giving a true and fair opinion, that I am giving an opinion that financial statements of a company have been prepared in all material respects in accordance with the applicable financial reporting framework. Then how I have arrived at that opinion? I would state that the audit was conducted in accordance with essays. Okay, and it also includes the auditor's responsibilities under essays. Okay, what are the responsibilities under essays? It would clearly state that मैंने ये तो कह दिया essay से, लेकिन यूजर्स को मैं क्लैरिफाई करूंगा कि essays में क्या responsibilities हैं. That describes the auditor responsibilities under essays, includes a statement and that I am as an auditor, I am an independent of the company, and I have met all relevant ethical requirements and ethical responsibilities. And I would also categorically state that I obtained sufficient appropriate audit evidence, that it is the sufficient appropriate audit evidence which has enabled me to give this opinion. Opinion students किस पे बेस होना चाहिए? Sufficient appropriate audit evidence. Chapter 3. So when auditor obtains sufficient appropriate audit evidence, he draws conclusions on the basis of those sufficient appropriate audit evidence, and it is only on the evaluation of those conclusions that he reaches the opinion. Okay, so I would write all these things in basis for opinion section if I am giving unmodified opinion. Okay, so clear guys. So there is a sample para of basis for opinion. Sample para for basis of opinion. So we conducted our audit in accordance with standards on auditing specified under section so and so of Companies Act. Say it relates to company. Our responsibilities under those standards are further described in auditor's responsibilities for audit of financial statement section of our report. So there is another para which is being referred to here, that auditor's responsibilities under essays are described under a separate para relating to auditor's responsibilities. Okay, and we are also independent of the company in accordance with the code of ethics issued by ICI, together with the ethical requirements that are relevant to the audit. Under the provisions of Companies Act and rules, we have fulfilled our ethical responsibilities. And very important, we believe that the audit evidence we have obtained is sufficient and appropriate to provide a basis for opinion. So here guys, the auditor is making a categorical statement. He is making a categorical statement that he believes that audit evidence he has obtained is sufficient and appropriate, which provides a basis for this opinion. Because if he has not obtained sufficient appropriate evidence, then he would have to modify the opinion. Okay, so he has got sufficient and appropriate evidence which shows that financial statements are free from material misstatements as a whole materially. Okay, so clear guys. So we have done 4 points: title, addressee, opinion, and basis for opinion. 4 points, 4 contents of the audit report. So title, independent auditor report. Addressee, to whom it is addressed, say in case of a company, to the members, in other cases to the appointing authority. Opinion, when what the language the auditor has to use when he gives an unmodified opinion. Okay, and if he gives an unmodified opinion, he has also to write basis for opinion, that the audit was carried out in accordance with essays. It should also include responsibilities of the auditor. It should also state that the auditor is independent of the company. It should also state that auditor has complied with all the relevant ethical requirements as under the code of ethics of ICI and companies act. Okay. Yes. When the auditor gives modified opinion, then obviously the contents, the form will be different. He would use a different language, and basis for opinion would be different. Kratika, Karthik, sorry, Karthike. So is that clear till now, guys? Yes, tell me. Is that clear up till here? Yes, students. Did you find it? Do you find it simple enough to understand? In your language, are you able to understand the concepts in your language the way you understand? Yes, guys. Yes, guys. Yes, you are saying clear. So then, okay, guys, short break for 10 minutes. So we shall be joining after 10 minutes, guys. Welcome back, guys. So next point is that auditor shall also report in accordance with SA 570 as per applicability of SA 570. So what was SA 570, guys? It related to going concern. Now what does going concern mean, guys? What does going concern mean? So going concern means that the entity, the company, the organization, that it is continue to operate its operations in foreseeable future, and that it is not going to materially scale down its operations. Okay, so general purpose financial statements which are prepared in accordance with general purpose framework are prepared using the going concern basis of accounting. Okay, so you have read in your accounts classes also that general purpose financial statements are prepared using the going concern basis of accounting. So unless the management intends to liquidate or wind up its business or to close its operations, so that is why because guys, you have to understand that this going concern assumption is a very fundamental type of thing. Say when we state debtors in the financial statements, when we show trade receivables, then it is implied that these are going to be realized. When we state trade payables, then it means that these are going to be paid. And when inventories are stated, it means that these are going to be further converted as part of the business cycles. Okay, so now the Dinesh, yes, when the accounts have been prepared in accordance with the going concern basis, it is a fundamental accounting assumption and it is implied. But the auditor has to evaluate whether management's use of going concern is appropriate. So the management is saying, it is declaring in its notes to accounts that accounts have been prepared on the going concern basis. Okay. So but the auditor has to evaluate. He has to assess whether the going concern assumption is correct or not. Say last year the company's turnover was 50 crores. Now the company's turnover is 1 crore. So what has happened? Whether company has sold its plant and machinery, whether it's going to wind up its business, whether it was proper to prepare accounts on going concern basis. Now these things have to be evaluated by the auditor. Okay, say based on the audit evidence obtained, the auditor should conclude whether in the auditor's judgment a material uncertainty exists relating to events or conditions that may cause significant doubt upon the ability of the concern to continue as going concern. You have read all these things in SA 570 in chapter 3. Haven't you guys? You have read all these things in chapter 3. So a material uncertainty exists when the magnitude of its potential impact and likelihood of occurrence is that in auditor's judgment, it is necessary for in case of a fair representational framework, for the fair representation of the financial statements. Say if some material uncertainty exists which casts doubt whether the company would continue as a going concern or not, then obviously the auditor has to evaluate what is its impact on the fair representation of the accounts, because the auditor expresses unmodified opinion only when he is sure, only when he obtains reasonable assurance that financial statements are prepared in all material respects in accordance with the applicable financial reporting framework. And my financial reporting framework states that this going concern assumption is implicit, it is implied. But what happens when the auditor evaluates that this is not a case of going concern, that there is a serious doubt on the ability of the company to continue as a going concern, a material uncertainty exists, then he has to report. Okay. Then another thing comes, key audit matters. Now guys, this you shall be studying in essay 701 on in our next lecture. For the time being, you can understand that key audit matters are some important significant matters. Important significant matters of the current period, which have been identified by the auditor during the course of audit. Say during the course of audit, the auditor has identified some important matters. Say the whole environment of the company is automated, and there is a complex IT network. So the auditor has identified it as a key audit matter. Okay, he has time to time made correspondence with management in this regard. So he would state in the audit report what are the key audit matters and how he has addressed them. What audit procedures, what tests of control, what substantive procedures he has performed to such matters which has been identified by him as significant matters, as key audit matters. Now, SA 701 deals with such matters. Now, in case of listed companies, the companies whose shares are listed on stock exchange, the reporting of key audit matters is mandatory, is compulsory. Okay. So, in case of listed entities, the auditors shall communicate key audit matters in auditor's report in accordance with SA 701. We shall be doing in detail the topic of key audit matters on day after tomorrow. So for the time being, you can understand this much, that key audit matters mean the matters, some important significant matters which have been identified by the auditor. These matters relate to current period, and the auditor has communicated with the management, communicated with those charged with the governance regarding these matters. So I have given you an example. So not only the auditor states that these are the key audit matters, or you can, in short, you can remember it as CAM. Okay, not only states this, but he also states how these were addressed by him in course of audit. So say if I am identifying something as an important matter, I would also write what did I do about this thing, what procedures I had performed. Okay. So it might so happen that by some law the auditor is compulsory required to report key audit matters, then the auditor shall do so in accordance with SA 701. So in case of listed companies, it is mandatory for auditor of listed companies to report key audit matters in accordance with the requirements of SA 701. Not in every company, but in case of listed companies. Okay. However, in other companies also, or in other entities, if the auditor finds it of importance, the auditor can always highlight some matter as key audit matter, and this would be reported in accordance with SA 701. And seventh point is responsibilities for the financial statements. The audit report shall expressly state that management is responsible for preparation of financial statements and also for internal control. Guys, these are two very basic fundamental points. Never lose sight of these 2 points. That management is responsible for preparation of financial statements. Management is responsible for devising a system of internal control, for ensuring that financial statements are free from material misstatement. प्राइमरी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी हर एक चीज की किसकी है? मैनेजमेंट की है, कंपनी के मैनेजमेंट की. ऑडिटर का रोल बाद में आता है. ऑडिटर्स रोल कम आफ्टरवर्ड्स. ऑडिटर इज नॉट प्रिपेयरिंग फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट्स, ही इज एक्सप्रेसिंग ओपिनियन. सो पर्पस ऑफ inserting this para in the contents of auditor report is to make clear to the users that these financial statements have not been prepared by the auditors. These have been prepared by the management, and the management is responsible for maintaining internal control. ठीक है? And management is responsible for preparing reliable financial information which is free from material misstatements, whether due to fraud or errors. Again, I am coming that what does auditor do? Auditor expresses opinion, and the ability of entity to continue as going concern is primarily of the management. Firstly, the management has to assess whether going concern assumption which we are following, whether it is appropriate or not. First responsibility, पहली रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी मैनेजमेंट की है. ऑडिटर की रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी इवेल्युएट करने की है कि जो आपने किया है वो उसको असेस करेगा वो ठीक है कि नहीं. इज दैट क्लियर इन सिंपल प्लेन हिंदी, in simple clear language? Is that clear, guys? So responsibility for the financial statements. Say guys, if you have not read, so some of you might think किसी ने हिट एंड ट्रायल करना हो एग्जाम्स में तो वो कहेगा रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी फॉर फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट्स. उसका ऑडिट रिपोर्ट से क्या मतलब? वो तो मैनेजमेंट का काम है, ऑडिटर का तो है ही नहीं, तो ऑडिट रिपोर्ट में नहीं आनी चाहिए. लेकिन नहीं, ऐसा है. ये ऑडिट रिपोर्ट में कंटेंट है बिकॉज इसका रीजन है. इसका रीजन ये है दैट SA 700 वांट्स टू मेक इट वेरी क्लियर that responsibility for preparation of financial statements lies with the management. Responsibility for devising, implementing and maintaining internal control lies with the management. Responsibility of the responsibilities with the management to ensure that the going concern assumption which they are following is appropriate. Auditor comes into the picture afterwards. He has to evaluate. Okay. So these are the two paras he would include regarding responsibilities of management. Number 1 relating to preparing financial statements and internal control, and assessing the entity's ability to continue as a going concern. Okay. So here again one para is given. This is the one and the same thing. And now we come to point number 8. What was point number 8? So guys, in the basis for opinion, we had discussed that this it shall state auditor's responsibilities. In the opinion section, we had discussed that it shall also contain a reference to auditor's responsibilities. So here, the auditor's report shall include a section with the heading auditor's responsibility for the audit of financial statements. इसका क्या पर्पज है? इसका पर्पज भी स्टूडेंट्स एसए 700 के हिसाब से यही है, so that SA 700 wants to make it clear to the users of financial statements कि independent financial audit के क्या ऑब्जेक्टिव हैं. ये रीजनेबल एश्योरेंस प्रोवाइड करता है, कोई गारंटी नहीं प्रोवाइड करता. मिस स्टेटमेंट्स फ्रॉड और एरर की वजह से हो सकती है. प्राइमरी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी मैनेजमेंट की है. जो आपने सारा चैप्टर 1, 3 में पढ़ा है, 4 में पढ़ा है, ये इसका एक जिस्ट है कि ऑडिटर की इंडिपेंडेंट ऑडिट का ऑब्जेक्टिव क्या है और ऑडिटर की रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी क्या है. ये कहीं ना कहीं ये कहने से ये चीजें ऑडिटर को सेव करती हैं. दीज थिंग्स सेव द ऑडिटर एंड दीज थिंग्स ऑल्सो reduces any sort of expectation which might be in the mind of user. से कोई लेमैन यूजर है, अब वो तो यही समझ के बैठा है कि वो ऑडिटेड अकाउंट्स पढ़ रहा है और वो तो गारंटी है इस बात की कि इसमें तो कोई गलती हो ही नहीं सकती, कोई फ्रॉड नहीं हो सकता. लेकिन जब वो ये पढ़ेगा कि ऑडिटर रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटीज क्या है, कि ऑडिटर ऑडिट फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट का इंडिपेंडेंट ऑडिट कोई गारंटी नहीं दे रहा, ये एक रीजनेबल एश्योरेंस दे रहा है, एक कंफर्ट लेवल प्रोवाइड कर रहा है. ये कोई गारंटी 100% नहीं दे रहा है कि इसमें आपका फ्रॉड या एरर नहीं हो सकता. सो हियर द ऑडिटर मेक्स एन एक्सप्रेस स्टेटमेंट. ओके, सो ये पैराग्राफ ऑडिट रिपोर्ट में दिया जाता है एज पर रिक्वायरमेंट्स ऑफ SA 700. Auditor's responsibilities for audit of financial statements. ओके, इसमें वही बातें लिखी जाती हैं कि ऑब्जेक्टिव्स क्या है ऑडिटर के. टू ऑब्टेन रीजनेबल एश्योरेंस, चैप्टर 1 SA 200, फर्स्ट पेज ऑफ योर मॉड्यूल. Okay, issue an auditor's report that includes the auditor opinion and to state reasonable assurance and that misstatements can arise from fraud or error. And the auditor's responsibilities for the audit of financial statements, it shall include further things. It should also include detail that audit has been conducted in accordance with SAs. The auditor has exercised professional judgment and maintained professional skepticism. And it shall also describe the auditor's responsibilities. These are to identify and assess the risk of material misstatement, to design and perform audit procedures, to obtain audit evidence, okay, to obtain understanding of internal control, to evaluate appropriateness of accounting policies, okay, to conclude the appropriateness of use of going concern basis evaluation, okay, and whether the financial statements are prepared in accordance with the applicable financial reporting framework. And next thing is location of the description of auditor's responsibility in the financial statements. So अब अगर ये 3-4 पेज जो ऑडिटर रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटीज के हैं, if those are written in the body of the report, then the report itself might become bulky. Okay, so these can be included within the body of the report or within the appendix to the report. या मैं एक सेपरेट अनेक्चर ऐड कर दूं रिपोर्ट के साथ और उसमें उसका रेफरेंस दे दूं कि ये ऑडिटर रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी अनेक्चर में अटैच्ड है, सो दैट मेन रिपोर्ट is crispy, is short, so the reader who is reading that report, he does not get lost in the maze of wordings. Okay, or by specific reference within the auditor's report to the location of such a description on website of appropriate authority where it is permitted by the law, or these can be placed at the website of an appropriate authority where it is permitted by the law. Next thing is other reporting responsibilities. Now besides this, there might be other responsibilities. Appendix. Dinesh, appendix is simply an annexure. Say the main report consists of 5 pages and appendix is 3 more pages attached to the report, but in the main report I am stating that auditor responsibilities are included in appendix A. It is a sort of annexure. Okay, like you understand, if you include every item in the balance sheet on the face of balance sheet, then the balance sheet would become very unwieldy. It would contain so many things. So that is why there is grouping in the balance sheet. There is on the first page, there are main heads, broad heads, and the breakup is in the notes, in the schedules. Okay, so that way you can understand the meaning of appendix. Okay. Yes. So like say auditor is appointed under Companies Act, then it might be required of him to report in accordance with the requirements of Companies Act. Okay, in accordance with the requirements of section 143(3), he might have to report certain things. You have just done chapter on company audit. In case of say manufacturing companies, he might have to report on Caro. Okay, or to such companies on which Caro is applicable, he would have to report on Caro 2020. Then these reporting responsibilities, these are also part of audit report, and these are referred to by means of annexure. So these are not main part of main report. So a reference is there that we are giving our report in respect of say matters specified by Caro 2020 in the annexure. Okay. So clear guys? Yes, it is reported at the 10th point. English. And then signature of auditor. Obviously. So guys, the more things would become clear to you when I'll show you a practical report. I'll try to show you a practical report in our next class. So then you will be able to correlate all these things. So signature of auditor. Obviously, the audit report has to be signed. Say if CAX is appointed, then it shall be signed by him. And if the firm is appointed, then the report is signed in the name of the auditor and name of the audit firm. Say if the name of the firm is MGR and Company, for example, MGR and Company. So the audit report would be signed as for MGR and Company, Chartered Accountants. Okay, and say Mitesh, partner. So it would be signed in this manner. So when the firm is appointed as an auditor, the report is signed in the personal name of the auditor. Mitesh partner is signing and in the name of the audit firm, because the appointment is in the name of the audit firm. So the engagement partner is signing on behalf of the firm. The firm of chartered accountants is auditor, but who is signing on behalf of the firm? It is the partner. So is that clear? So when firm is appointed as an auditor, the report is signed in personal name of partner and in the name of audit firm. And the partner signing the report needs to mention membership number. What is his membership number? Say, okay, say when you will qualify as chartered accountant, when you would clear your final exams, then you will apply to ICAI for enrollment as member, and you will be given a unique membership number, and then you would have to state your membership number. Okay, and also registration number of the firm. And if you are proprietor of a firm or if you are a partner of firm, then there is a separate registration number of allotted to every firm by ICAI. Okay, so that number has to be mentioned. Place of signature. Now, what is the place of signature? Place of signature means the place where the report is signed, specific location where the report is signed. So obviously it would be normally at the place where the office of audit firm is located. Okay. So obviously I would normally be signing the report in my office. Okay. So if I am auditing the accounts of an entity, say which is based in Delhi, okay, and I am and my office is at some other city, then obviously the place where I am signing would be the place of my office where I'm signing the report. Date of audit report. Now this is also important. Date of auditor's report. That auditor's report shall be dated no earlier than the date on which auditor has obtained sufficient appropriate audit evidence. So जिस दिन the auditor is satisfied that he has obtained sufficient appropriate audit evidence, ऑडिट रिपोर्ट पे डेट जो है उसके बाद की होगी, उससे पहले की नहीं हो सकती, क्योंकि अगर आप ऑडिट रिपोर्ट उससे पहले की डेट के साइन कर रहे हो तो बाद में जो आपने ऑडिट एविडेंस लिया उसका क्या लॉजिक है, Karthik, you are asking what is the need of disclosing place of signature. Yes, it binds the auditor to show the place where he has signed. Okay, that it means that he has applied his mind. He has applied his mind. He has after obtaining all audit evidence, he has evaluated and now he is signing the report. Then he obviously it is necessary to describe place where he is signing, because you understand, Karthik, that in all legal documents also when you sign something, place and date is to be mentioned. Say when you are this is not related to that, but you can understand when you are giving an affidavit, obviously you are stating place and date. Both things are there. Place where I am signing and the date. Okay. So the date of auditor report informs the user. So what is the relevance of date of auditor's report? This is also important. Why auditor's report is relevant? Date of auditor's report is relevant. Date is the date of auditor report informs the users of the audit report that auditor has considered effect of all events occurred up to that date. Say I am auditing the accounts of financial statements of a company for year ending 31st March 22 and date of my audit report is 15 July 22. So when I am putting date as 15 July 22, the users of the report assume the users of the report are assuming that that I have considered all the events and transactions which have occurred between the intervening period. Between 31st March 22 and 15 July 22. Okay, so that is the relevance of the date of auditor's report. Now, one more thing is UDIN. Now, this is also to be stated for every audit and certificate issued by practicing chartered accountants. This requirement is now mandatory since last about 3-4 years. So what is the full form of this is? UDIN means unique identification number. Unique document identification number. Now how this is generated? Now there is a portal of ICI UDIN portal. So every practicing member has to go to the portal and he has to log in and he has to fill some fields like say what is the PAN of the company or PAN of the entity and what is the period covered, what is the and what is the type of engagement, say whether it is an audit. So if it is an audit, that under which act the audit is, whether it is under Companies Act or some other act. And after filling this information and after submitting this information, an OTP comes on the mobile and registered email ID of the member, which is registered as per ICI records. And after verifying that, a unique document identification number is generated, UDIN. Now it is compulsorily required to be stated in case of each audit report carried out by a chartered accountant. So what was the purpose behind this? Because ICAI was receiving many complaints then that persons who are non-chartered accountants, they were misrepresenting themselves as chartered accountants and they were misleading the public. Okay, so to curb these malpractices, ICAI has launched this innovative concept of UDIN, unique document identification number. It has to be issued for every audit report and for every certificate issued by practicing members. Yes, Dinesh, it is different for each audit report. It is different. It is a unique number. The name itself states unique document identification number. It is different for each each report. It is a system generated number. So when you give by random algorithm, it generates a number. Okay, it is a alphanumeric number, and it is generated, and it has to be stated on the audit report. Okay, so it ensures the authenticity. It shows that report was in fact signed by chartered accountant. Okay, so is that clear? Yes, students, is that clear? So we shall quickly go through some questions now. Are you ready, guys? Are you ready, guys, for some correct, incorrect type of questions? Yes, tell me. Question number 1. General purpose framework. Are you able to see, guys? General purpose framework refers to a financial reporting framework designed to meet common information needs of shareholders of a company. Is this correct or incorrect? Along with reason. Now, Abdul, you are saying number is also unique. Then what is the need of UDN? Very good question. Say membership number remains same for the member or throughout the life. Say if I have got a membership number when I became a CA, then that membership number would remain same throughout my life. So when I write membership number on some document, then this document goes to say n number of persons XYZ. So anybody can have my membership number, and obviously they can misrepresent by using that membership number. But unique document identification number is unique for every audit. It is different for every audit. It is system generated. Okay, is that clear, Abdul? So herein lies the importance. Is it clear to you, Abdul? Yes, I am zooming it. Is this statement correct or incorrect? Yes, Abdul, is your query clear regarding UDIN and membership number? Yes, most of you are answering it correctly. It is incorrect. Why? General purpose framework refers to a financial reporting framework designed to meet common information needs, not only of shareholders. Here it is wrong, but for a wide range of users. Okay. Number 2, UDN has to be stated only when audit report of company is signed by auditor. Yes, tell me. Question number 2, whether this is correct or incorrect. UDN has to be stated when audit report of a company is signed by auditor. अगर कंपनी की ऑडिट रिपोर्ट ऑडिटर साइन करेगा तभी यूडीआईएन लिखना है उस पे. इज दिस करेक्ट और इनकरेक्ट? क्वेश्चन नंबर 2, UDIN has to be stated only when audit report of company is signed by auditor. Yeah, Dinyash, Abdul, and Sharan Krishnan, how you are writing that this statement is correct? Pranav, you are also writing that this statement is correct. Pratika, Khushi, Karthik, you are all writing this statement is correct. So guys, how this is correct? अभी तो हमने यूडीएन किया है. मैंने आपको क्या बोला है कि यूडीआईएन has to be stated in every audit report and certificate issued by practicing chartered accountant. So यहाँ पे क्या लिखा है? UDN has to be stated only when audit report of a company is signed by the auditor. क्या आप मेरे को बताइए सिर्फ कंपनी का ही ऑडिट होता है और किसी का ऑडिट नहीं हो सकता? पार्टनरशिप फर्म का ऑडिट नहीं होता क्या? ट्रस्ट का ऑडिट नहीं होता क्या? प्रोप्राइटरशिप कंसर्न का ऑडिट नहीं होता क्या? होता है. तो फिर स्टेटमेंट करेक्ट हुई कि इनकरेक्ट हुई? हाउ यू आर राइटिंग? यू आर नॉट स्टडिंग द स्टेटमेंट करेक्टली. अभी तो मैं आपको बता रहा हूं स्टूडेंट्स, यूडीएन हमारा लास्ट टॉपिक था. अभी तो आपको बता रहा हूं और आप गलत कर रहे हैं. So try to read between the lines. UDN has to be stated only, the word is only when audit report of a company is signed by the auditor. It is an incorrect statement. UDN has to be stated whenever audit report of an entity is signed by an auditor. Okay. So this statement is incorrect. Third, basis for opinion is required to be given in audit report only when modified opinion is expressed by auditor. Question number 3 is tell me whether this is correct or incorrect. Question number 3. Basis for opinion is required to be given in audit report only when modified opinion is expressed by the auditor. Yes, Lakshmi BS, Mrs. Lakshmi BS, you are asking, but unless signed, how will it be valid report? Mrs. Lakshmi, you are judging it, you are understanding it wrong way. Look, whenever audit is carried out and audit report is issued, fair enough. When audit report is issued, the auditor puts UDIN by visiting the UDN portal of ICI and generating that number. Now here, what is written in the statement? In the statement, it is written that UDN has to be stated only when audit report of a company is signed by the auditor. Only. इसका मतलब और किसी केस में वो ऑडिट करता है, then he is not required to state UDN. But it is not true. If he audits, if the audit of a partnership firm is done, even then UDN has to be generated and stated. If say the audit of a trust is done, audit report is issued, then again UDN has to be generated and stated. It is not only that in case of the audit report of a company that audit report has that UDN has to be stated. So you are understanding the wording of the statement incorrectly. Hope that is clear to you. Mrs. Lakshmi BS, hope that is clear to you. Question number 3. Basis for opinion is required to be given in audit report only when modified opinion is expressed by the auditor. अगर ऑडिटर खाली मॉडिफाइड ओपिनियन एक्सप्रेस करेगा तभी बेसिस फॉर ओपिनियन देना पड़ता है या अनमॉडिफाइड ओपिनियन में भी देना पड़ता है? टेल मी. Tell me, guys, this is also incorrect. Basis for opinion is to be given whether opinion is modified or unmodified. In both cases, we had just seen today that as per requirements of SA 700, when the auditor expresses unmodified opinion, basis for opinion is given. Okay. Is that clear? Yes. The audit report in case of a company, now it is asking in case of a company, is usually addressed to the members of the company, whether it is correct or not. The audit report of a audit report in case of a company is normally addressed to the members of the company. Yes. We had discussed this point also while studying the chapter. The audit report in case of a company is usually addressed to the members of the company. Yes. What about others? Yes. Now I've got this. Now everybody is responding. Yes. This is correct. Audit report of the company is addressed to the members of the company. Okay. And 5. Question number 5. The place of signature in auditor's report states specific location, which is ordinarily the city where registered office of the company is located. Is the statement correct or incorrect? Yes, tell me. When the place of signature is written in the auditor's report, then what does this mean? Which place is written? जहां पे कंपनी का रजिस्टर्ड ऑफिस है या और कुछ है, बताइए. What does place of signature denote? Yes, only 1-2 answers. Pranav, Vashishta, Karthik, Abdul, and Mohammad Abid Vora. What about others? So simple, guys. We had just discussed. Yes, students. Come on, Piyush Chaurasia, Mitesh Bhai Patel. So the answer is incorrect. It is the place where he has signed the report. It is incorrect. Okay. So Pratika, how you are saying it is correct? I told you that place of signature is the place where the auditor has signed his report. It has nothing to do with the with the registered office of the company. The auditor would not go to the registered office of the company to sign the report. Would he? Plain common sense. Plain common sense, plain logic. So is that clear? Is that clear to you guys? So guys, today we have tried to make you understand the basic fundamental concepts of audit report. What are its contents? What do we mean by unmodified opinion? Okay, and what is the need basically of SA 700? Why it is necessary? Why do we need standardization? Why it is important? And what is to be stated in auditor's report? What are the headings to whom audit reports are addressed? What do these contain? So we have understood today these basic things I tried to explain to you in simple language, simple layman's language. And in our next lecture, we shall be discussing about modification to the auditor's opinion and how it is to be reported in accordance with SA 705. We shall also be discussing key audit matters, how these are to be reported in accordance with SA 701 and many more things. And I will also try to show you a actual audit report, okay, so that you can correlate what you have studied today with that audit report, so that the concept becomes clearer to you. Okay, guys. So is that fine enough, guys? Tell me. Is that fine enough? Is that clear? So that's over for today. Okay, guys. So good night. Good night. See you day after tomorrow. See you day after tomorrow, guys.